Pizzabox Paradox, episode 3, single take.
All right, let's go.
It's time.
So yeah, welcome to Pizzabox Paradox. Thank you so much, Aditya, for helping us sort all of this out, and and thanks Sahil for coming on as well.
Yeah.
Let's begin.
I mean,
Just to give context, I mean, for the past 1.5 hours, we've been trying to find a place to. There was a place, and then it got loud, and then we're like, hey, we can't have
it doesn't
music
matter.
in here because there's copyright issues.
But yeah, it is what
I
it
can
is.
still sing Moe Moe. I mean, that won't be.
No, I have not woken up on a Monday
Yeah.
to listen to you sing. So let's keep that for later.
but to us, it feels kind of surreal sitting with Young Chef of the Year 2022.
Yeah.
And
Worldclass is Bartender of the Year 22 or 23? What was it?
22.
22.
Yeah. Yeah, 22, man.
22.
What do you mean? Yeah. it's after he won that I was like, what are you doing with your life?
It's recency effect.
Yeah.
It's recency effect, man.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up, I'm like.
Yeah.
But to begin with, we want to start with a very serious question.
Yeah.
How is it up at the top?
Like, do these accolades come with a lot of pressure on? Like, does it put pressure on you? Are there certain expectations that the industry has of you because
So
of this?
can I go first?
Yeah,
Sure,
I think
sure.
first things first. I think it's very important to understand.
Oh, not at the
While we're nowhere close to the top. I think we're still working on our stuff. I think we're still super young. I think there's a long way to go.
Right.
I think the moment we say we're at the top, we're dead in the water. I don't think we'll ever be at the top. I mean, what is the top? It's subjective, right?
It's relative. It's
Huh?
subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to be on top, if you know what I mean. But, I mean,
That's
nowhere-
a lie. He's the laziest person I've ever seen in my life. He's a bottom. He's a bottom, and there's no two ways about
Oh yeah,
it.
no, but I think no, nowhere close to the top. I think it's a process. I think it's ongoing. Of course, there's recognition, there's accolades. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. But I think it's very important to approach it with a lot of humility because, I mean, life keeps teaching you. I mean, as long as you're humble.
Yeah.
The moment you say, I mean, you got your shit figured out, then it'll be like, okay, cool. But
What, 25, 26? Okay, we're to say we're at the top this early is, I think, extremely not even arrogant. I think it's just insolent for us to say that because we have so many more years to just explore and learn and experiment, find out our actual identities within the space. It's very easy to win accolades early on and then think you've achieved the peak and then get put into a professional setting, like a proper setting where like what he and I are doing right now, and then you're just like, shit. Like it's like square one all over again.
also, I think the process is more fun, you know. I think it's nicer when you're like, I mean, what kind of happens is, I mean, I remember this quote from this movie called Hunger, where there's this mentor chef who goes to like his younger chef kind of person, and she's like really killing it, and he's like, congratulations, now for the rest of your life, you're gonna be on the peak of this cliff.
Right.
And all your life, you're only going to be struggling to stay on top and try not to fall off, and that's the worst feeling in the world. So congratulations, you have it now. So I think it's nicer to be the underdog. It's nicer to figure things out all the time, and kind of, I mean, be able to enjoy the process. I mean,
So, why don't you all tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now so, and what your roles are currently at where you're working?
Sure.
So, for some context.
Yeah. Well, I've had a whirlwind of a journey. I used to be in charge of a restaurant called Vark at Taj Mahal, Delhi, and shortly after that, Gary Megan, who is someone that we've all grown up with, came with a company called Konosh to do events at Delhi. So I was helping them out there, and then I just put in my papers. And shortly after I put in my papers, like we developed a really nice relationship, and he hired me after that. So I work as Gary Megan's sous chef doing events around India, and then a couple of events into what I was doing. Konosh, the co-founders Vaibhav, Bell and Neha Malik, they extended a very generous hand in order to absorb me into their sort of company. So right now I am a growth and collaborations specialist for Konosh. I essentially have a dream job I travel the world. I eat at the world's best restaurants. I drink at the world's best
And
bars.
you didn't have to pay for any of it, huh?
Hey, listen. ROI is important, okay? Because what I then do is, it's very important for us as a brand now, as
Corporate
Kanosh. Yeah, please. To actually form a personal relationship with the chef or the bar in charge and the bartender, and then bring them back to India. Because we feel like food and beverage is a segment where it solely runs, especially internally, on relationships. Right? You need to have a good rapport with whoever you're sort of engaging with. And and then I help curate luxury dining experiences in India. Essentially, my philosophy was very in line with what Kanosh wanted, is to break the borders that separate countries and then make food and beverage accessible. Because today when you hear of big names, it always comes with a price tag associated. That's what we were talking about Muro as well, right? Like, from the outside, it's just really regal, fancy looking place, but it's very approachable when you go inside. And that's sort of what I want to do with food, is that yes, we're bringing the best chefs of the world here, but then I'm saving you 9 steps out of 10 that you would actually take to book the tickets, get a reservation at the restaurant, fly there, make your way to the restaurant, eat a meal, and then come back. That's just so much unnecessary
I mean,
expenditure.
getting a table at all of these spots takes like 6 months and stuff like that.
Oh,
I think,
yeah, at
and
least
an
a year
Anna Ross
and a
would
half.
be like, I mean, you'd have to book in advance.
And Anna Ross was,
and then fly all the way to Slovenia. If I'm not wrong. Yeah, Slovenia.
You have
Alright.
to fly into the Dolomite. You have to go to Italy, go to the Dolomite Mountains, and then travel 3 hours to Slovenia.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty cool what Kanosh does. I mean, they're bridging a gap. I mean, where they say, okay, cool, you know what? The greatest chef in the world,
Right.
you're going to bring her down. All you got to do is turn up,
Yeah.
show up. She's going to cook for you, make sure everything is all right.
Make dining, make scary, intimidating, fine dining approachable, while keeping it not, I wouldn't say keeping it niche, but then maintaining the standards and the qualitative sort of approaches that they take to everything. I think that's what we try to do. Yeah. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sahil, why don't you tell us?
Yeah, what about
Mainly I wipe glasses.
And makes really shit cocktails.
Yeah. 1 out of 10, but the one is like really good.
Yeah.
No, but on a serious note, started off as a bartender. That was again wanted to make a bit of pocket money for myself, for the beers, for all of that stuff. Eventually worked with some really good mentors at the very start of my career.
Right.
Eventually went into Taj. With all the fancy kids of all the fancy colleges and this fancy fuck over here.
I was the least fancy person there, and you know it.
Yeah. I mean, worked with the Taj, landed what was my dream job, which is working for a bar called Rick's. Rick's, again, for me was and still is an institution, right? It's a bar that kind of got the ball rolling in terms of what we have in the world of cocktails in the country. One of the first few cocktail bars that took cocktails very, very, very seriously. Nurtured some of the finest bartenders that the country has to offer even today. And then to kind of say, okay, cool, Sahil, you know what? This young dude, small town guy from Goa, middle of nowhere, run Rick's. Okay, all right. Very exciting. But yeah, did Rick's for a bit. Rick's again, quite an immense experience. Also, something really magical happened in that year was, I mean, I was just going through rounds of Worldclass, and it was always a dream, and I'm like, okay, someday I'll win it, someday, not today, but someday. And then it's round after round after round after round, and suddenly I'm in Bombay, and I'm just sipping on my whiskey sour after all the rounds are done. I'm like, okay, cool, Sal, you've done well. I'm pretty satisfied with my performance because I know the kind of work that's gone in. Like, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं कर सकता था. I mean, you couldn't have done more than this. And one of the guys that I really look up to is like, hey Sahil, you're gonna have a good evening. I'm like, alright, cool. I know. I'm gonna get very drunk. And he's just smiling at me, right? And I mean, the announcement kind of comes up, and they're like, hey, the winner of Worldclass is, and I've got my phone out, right? I'm like, hey, we're gonna find out who the Worldclass winner is, just looking around and kind of trying to see, okay, cool, I mean, I'm gonna be the one to like get first looks at it. And they're like, Sahil Essani, and I'm like,
Who?
was there a Sahil in the top 15 apart from me? And at the back, I mean, you got a couple of guys that are like, Sahil, just go. And I'm like, holy shit, I've actually done it, you know?
Yeah.
So Worldclass happened. That was magical, quite an experience. Eventually, the documentary happened. One of the 3 bartenders from across the world to get featured in a documentary called Spirit, which kind of follows winners from across the globe and how they kind of work towards becoming the world's best bartender.
Right.
That documentary you can find in Amazon, anywhere else in the world. In India, we're still working on it. That happened. Did a bit of brand work. Became a brand ambassador for a craft brand. And now I said I miss bartending. I do miss bartending a lot, and that's how I made my way back into the bar world through Muro. Again, super ambitious project. Saw what the people had in mind, saw the vision, saw the ambition, and I said, okay, cool. This sounds exciting. This sounds very exciting. And yeah, I always wanted to again run a bar again, have a team again. Make a ton of cocktails, have a lot of fun, get stupidly drunk again. So right now with Muro, again, I take care of drinks.
Right.
Essentially make sure that drinks are on point, creatively on point, consistency is on point, the team is being taken care of, very important. I think we're going to talk about that in a bit. But also, just make sure, I think what is most important, remember all of this, is making sure people are having a great fucking time.
Yep.
I think
That's
tasty cocktails, all of that, great, but I think at the end of the day, what a person is going to remember is, hey, you know,
the vibe.
a
The
year
happiness you
later
feel,
they're not going to remember ki, hey, it was this drink, that drink, this.
And after a couple of drinks, you won't remember
Sahil
his
was the
face. Like
funny
he has a
guy,
very,
you know?
he has a very forgettable face anyway. So.
Yeah,
Like you won't
yeah,
remember him, but
yeah.
you'll remember what he made you.
Right. Right.
And it's not
And
just
that's
us waffling
what-
about this. One of the foremost in the world when it comes to hospitality, his name is Will Guidara. He wrote a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. He co-founded 11 Madison Park. It's one of the best restaurants in the world for a very long time. And this is exactly what he says. He said, people will forget what they ate. People will forget what they drank. People will never forget how you made them feel. And that is what unreasonable hospitality is all about. And that's what you need to nurture, not just outside from a front end, but in the back end as well. Today, if you treat like your staff well, there is no telling what you can achieve with that team.
Like, how did you set yourself apart from the competition in any way? Maybe
Let's
if you
do
did.
it this way, Adi. I don't think we want to like how do you say it?
I'll talk about his journey.
Yeah, exactly.
He can talk about my
Yeah,
journey because
yeah.
the thing is, it was something that happened at the same time.
Yeah.
It was this connect that we've always had from day one. Like I said, we challenge each other in very healthy ways. But we never forget to have fun.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing is, the experiences that we've been through, been with each other through throughout all the cities that we mentioned before, that really shaped up his journey.
Right.
If these are just small examples or snippets of what he would do, he always had a good hand at making cocktails. Okay, I'm not going to mince my words when I say that. He did, and look at him smiling and blushing. He's always had a very good sort of palate and a very astute sense of how things need to be. Yes, if you give him go on rock salt, he freaks out with it and he makes everything salty. So never do that.
Rock salt everything.
Rock salt everything. It's atrocious. You'll die of sodium poisoning. But he's just someone who sort of absorbs what's around him, right? And then you could see that through his journey at Worldclass was because there was when we were in Jamshedpur, we actually were chosen for a very special project that really touched our hearts, and I think is one of the most special.
I think it's the
things
best memory I've ever had.
One of
yeah.
the best memories we've ever had. So
Yeah.
we were chosen. He was always the beverage guy. I was always the food guy. We were chosen by the Taj to do something called Tata Samvad, which is this offshoot of Tata Steel's CSR initiative in Jamshedpur. So we had to essentially, from start to finish, bring together 25 tribes from across India and build up a restaurant from the ground up and showcase their food
Oh, in a month and a half, huh?
in a month and a half, in 45 days.
Yeah.
And like,
I never forget that part. I've never done this before.
like how do we do this?
45 days.
We've got to be
I
walking
don't
up
know
at
anybody in the city.
we don't know anyone, we don't know the markets, we don't know like literally how to function, because this was a project that we were just given. It was our sort of prerogative to create focus and give direction to chaos, right? Yes, you had a lot of what do you say, other events going on, like, you know, dancing and them coming out with their artwork and everything, but how do you tie all of that to make a comprehensive?
I mean, there's so
Condense it, yeah.
So
How are you
much, there's so
condensing
much
it?
talent
Yeah.
and there's so much, happening, right? I mean, our country is super diverse when it comes to food, when it comes to drink.
Yeah.
It's super, super, super diverse. I mean, there's so much that's untouched. And
Yeah.
when you've got our tribal friends bringing ideas from all across, I mean,
Not just
it's-
ideas,
it's-
ingredients,
Yeah.
food. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah, that was immense. That was like such an intense learning curve. It was just, imagine it's just ideas on like
25 tribes, four,
Yeah.
5 people
Yeah.
per tribe.
Right.
And the thing is, before this, what we were doing is
and
we were
everything
actually
is so good. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole. I think the biggest challenge was not, curating stuff, but being able to mince.
represent all of them.
Yeah,
equally.
do justice.
Right.
Do justice to each of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, like for us, we were like traveling throughout Jharkhand, Bihar, Orissa, actually going to tribal people's homes, seeing the way they cook, tasting their food.
Yeah.
Insane. As a chef, I feel like we crib about not having the best ingredients or
That's
all
bullshit.
of that.
That's bullshit.
It's nuts. Okay, like after that experience, you will see these amazing tribal cooks come up with like
Yeah.
4 ingredients and cook the best food you've ever tasted in your life.
Yeah.
And the two of us would look at each other and be like,
I mean, not exaggerating.
How?
I mean, the food was
4 ingredients, like 4 ingredients, and the food was nuts. Something we've never tasted before. And so we had to get artwork made by this
tribe.
this tribal
the
in-
Orao, Munda, Santhal.
yeah, Santhali tribes.
Yeah.
And then we actually went and got like thalis made out of mountain rock. We went with these guys there. They took us to their house and they were cutting it out in front of us. They made water goblets, they made thalis, they made everything for us. And then we curated this amazing sit-down dinner for the top brass of Tata. And it was one of the most magical experiences that we could ever have.
Right.
And in between this journey is why I've been waffling about this journey so much, is we went to some amazing places that just taught us how to view food and beverage so differently. And I remember we went to a place called Ajamemba, which
Okay.
is in Jharkhand. It's India's first tribal restaurant.
Oh, okay.
And we had like proper tribal food. We had something called a bhunja chai. Okay, so there are teas and there are tisanes. So
Okay.
teas have caffeine, tisanes are anything that are floral and have flowers and everything. So chamomile,
Anything without
technically-
like,
anything
tea
without,
without
caffeine.
tea.
Yeah, tea without caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So chamomile is a tisane. It's not a tea, right? These guys they used day-old rice, high in starch, and they dextrinized it. Dextrinization is a process where you're dry roasting your rice till it becomes like golden brown. Okay, and then they just poured hot water into it, let it steep, let all the amazing caramelized nutty flavors sort of seep out into the water, and then they put like a bit of jaggery in it. Okay, and then they'd strain it and serve it to you hot. It was the most mind-blowing tea I've had in my life. The complexity in that was unbelievable. And then that, like a year, like 2.5 years down the line after that, 2.5 years down the line, that was the base of the cocktail that he won rounds with at Worldclass.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I was busting my ass roasting
Yeah.
5 kilos of
Yeah.
rice in the kitchen.
Rice.
He just hands me like rice and he's
Like,
like,
go figure it out.
figure it out. And I was just like, buddy, what?
That's me with Dave. I just give him like
Yeah.
50 GB of.
Yeah. You edit it. You edit it. I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, and he was just like, yeah, you do all the hard work, I'll assume all the glory. And that entire experience of us learning from other people culturally is what sort of shaped us and our journeys as bartenders and as chefs to then become bar managers and then sous chefs and then head chefs, right? So that's sort of how we gave, or his journey was given direction, because his base was strong. He's worked at some of the best bars already, right? He was leading Rick's, which was an institution, like he said. And then but it's not these big fancy places that inspire you to do something. His cocktails had art drawn on the rice paper that was the top of their cocktail, and this was the Munda tribes.
This was the Sohrai art.
Sohrai art.
It's quite common in the central tribes, right?
This was from the Maharashtrian.
No, this was central India. Sohrai came from the Munda, Santala,
Munda tribe,
Orao tribes,
Yeah.
Central India,
Yeah. So that's where you get inspiration from.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because inspiration's literally.
I think it's
Here.
important to look inside, and I think bartenders need to look at not bartenders.
Yeah.
Regular
Sometimes,
people.
yeah.
Regular
look at
people day to day.
I mean, even the coffee guy that's making coffee. I mean, in the mornings. I mean, I think it's. I mean, there's so much to learn from that. I mean,
Just the technique of throwing.
I
like
think
what we
it's
described
very
to
important to
coffee.
ask why. I think that's so important, right? I mean, when you kind of ask why, rather than just saying okay, cool, ऐसे ही है. You kind of say okay, cool. If he's throwing it,
Pre-existing.
why is he throwing it? I mean, there's a purpose to it, right? Because they've been doing it for years and years and years and years, and I mean that knowledge is been passed on for generations and it's been evolved for generations. I mean, that is always going to be a lot more advanced than what you would try and figure out and learn in 3 or 4 years, right? I mean, even with Aditya, right? I mean, one thing that you, I mean, see about him and what kind of has taken him to where he is the ability to again build strong connections. I think it's so important in today's day and age. I think again it comes down to again making sure how people feel, right? I think that's one part of it, but also taking things by the scruff of the neck and saying, hey, you know what, I got this. I mean, at every stage, I mean, even if responsibility is not required and it's not prerequisite that hey, I need to do this, he will step up. He will say, you know what, I want to do this.
Yeah.
and I think it really I mean in retrospect it really serves a person when you do that, because then I mean you're learning way more than your scope of learning would be, right? I mean when you do jobs that you're not asked to do, I mean, and when you're stepping up, I still remember Samvad. I mean, he's got layout, gas, this, that. I mean there's so many technicalities that I learned to pick up, and I mean there was almost I learned to learn from Adi, right?
Yeah.
I mean that is a skill in itself. I mean how do you kind of approach, how do you kind of get into the nitty-gritties, the technicalities? Okay, I mean what is the detail of the detail? You've got 5 levels of learning. How do you achieve that 5th level of learning where it is not about okay, cool, picking up a recipe and executing? It's about okay, what is this recipe, how does it work, how does every element work, how does every element interact, what if we tweak these elements to react in a different way, what if I wanted to create something of my own, how would things change with every little nuance kind of going up and down, right? And it could be so many factors, so many, I mean there's, if you put it very simply, I mean there's a million permutations and combinations in every single dish that you plate, right?
Yeah.
And I mean getting to the point of understanding that, I mean that is a real skill. I mean you got variations in texture, you got variations in temperature, you got variations in ingredients, and those ingredients can have different days of freshness or quality. You got different species of those ingredients, you've got different ways of presenting them, you got different ways of, again, I'm still missing out on a majority of these things, right? But I mean when you just look at the peak of the iceberg that I've kind of mentioned to you right now, the possibilities are endless, and I mean to be able to learn to pick up those possibilities and understand at a deeper level, I think that's what kind of sets Aditya apart, right? I mean that, and also I mean he's a charmer. I mean you can put him in a total stranger with a room and he'd like pick up the conversation and he'd be like the guy's favorite guy in like 30 minutes.
Is getting into the F&B industry something that's become institutionalized in the sense, do you need to be a part of one of these hotel management programs or culinary to find your footing in the industry, or
Not really,
can
no.
anyone
No.
sort of make
No.
their way into it?
There are just so many different paths.
Yeah, I think I also feel like some of the finest that we've got in F&B right now. I mean, I think one person that we can really take example from is Karthik Vasudeva, the guy that was, I think he's regarded possibly as one of the best general managers we've seen in recent times. To an F&B space, you must have heard the name Bombay Canteen.
Yeah.
Karthik started there, and he was not even from the industry.
Yeah.
He just had a nuance for hospitality. He just wanted to take care of people, and I think I always joke with like the hospitality guys that the most dangerous guys are the ones that are not from hospitality, because they've not been taught orthodox methods, right?
Yeah.
They don't get taught to like think inside of a box. I mean, sometimes it's important to unlearn things, and I think when you start with a fresh mind, with a fresh perspective, that is not entirely hospitality. That is also quite beautiful in itself, because then you're coming from a different mindset, a different perspective. Then you're thinking of very fresh ideas, right?
And the thing is, like, even with this industry, like, to bring up some a point in your question, so of course during my escapades with Chef Gary, his manager actually brought up a very interesting term. It's called a hospo carni, a hospitality carnivore, and she was telling us that I think it's really fucked that we get happiness out of, or we derive happiness out of serving people.
Yeah.
Like, that's essentially like servitude, right? To put it very frankly. But I think that's the beauty of it. Like, yes, we are all hospo carnis, because that is what drives us. Tomorrow, I don't care. At the end of the day, yes, as a manager, you have to look at your P&L, you have to look at your bottom line, you have to look at the things that would drive a business. But I think with people who are very truly F&B, we're very emotional when it comes to our product. You couldn't do it if you weren't. And who would want to toil 16 hours a day getting nothing in your bank account at the end of the month? Like, you wouldn't. And it takes a level of fucked in your head to actually be part of hospitality, right?
I mean, yeah, you're gonna be. You walk into the walk-in, someone there.
Yeah, you see people crying in the walk-in.
But that's also true.
Dude, that's pretty. There's like 60 people outside. Get the fuck.
Like, cry later, just serve them and then come back and cry.
But y'all also.
Tu mar gaya aaj? Acha, theek hai, no problem. You die today, you come tomorrow on time, okay? We are very busy.
But y'all pull in such long hours as well, right? Yeah, like you have insane working hours, and then how do you guys manage? Like, is that something that you see is hindering the entire industry right now, where you're spending 12 hours, 13 hours? inside?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
So I think it's not. I mean, while it might be an old-fashioned norm for, I think it's a very touchy topic that you've gotten into.
Very, yeah.
We can go on for hours and hours and hours about this.
Because our leadership styles are similar.
Yeah, and I mean, because also the industry, I mean, the way it's transforming right now, we're going through metamorphosis, where suddenly you have a bunch. I mean, we're fully into the Gen Z coming into the workforce now, and the Gen Z, I mean, they think differently.
They grate parmesan on espresso martinis.
Yeah.
Brother,
Yeah,
He hates them.
What?
I think they're decent. He hates them.
We haven't tried it yet.
if there's Parmesan on espresso martini, I'm just gonna take the Parmesan, throw it, and I'm gonna drink the espresso martini. I mean, no, but I mean, coming back to the point, super important. I think, we have the Gen Z coming in.
Yeah.
The Gen Z thinks differently. First of all, you've got an expanding F&B industry. It's at a breakneck pace. If I'm not wrong, and I mean, disclaimer if I've got the wrong stat, but you're looking at an expansion rate of roughly 5% every year. That's massive to start with. Okay?
In an industry that is hundreds of billions of dollars.
I mean, it's not that there's a shortage of jobs in this industry. Okay? That's to start with. To back this stat, you've got another scary number, which is, I think,
60% of all items are empty.
yeah, seats were left empty. So you've got an expanding industry.
Yeah.
You have got fewer people coming into the space,
Right.
which means there is at some point going to be an imbalance, right? And that imbalance comes from the traditional fold of
Methodology
hospitality,
of
where they say, okay, cool, you got to work long hours, and again,
shit pay.
I think if I have to kind of put it into buckets, there's old hospitality, there's new hospitality. Old hospitality, I mean, what I've seen in a bunch of hotels, I was quite fortunate because the Taj is actually a very good workplace.
Yeah.
But what you hear from a lot of hospitality people is that, again, I've got friends who worked 16, 17, 18 hours, 3 days a week off.
Yeah.
The industry norm is 4 to 6 days off. in a world where we're looking at having 4-day work weeks,
Yeah.
in a world where we're looking at 8-hour work days, you've got an industry which has got slightly, I would say slightly unfair norms, and there's so many employers that would say ऐसे ही होता है because ऐसे ही है. That is the industry norm.
Yeah.
So I think it is only fair that the industry struggles a bit. I mean, the way people struggle a bit to learn, they say, no, I mean, in the industry, they say you got to struggle so you can learn. I think I think the equation is going to flip slightly now, where I
It's
say,
about
okay, cool,
equilibrium.
workplaces need to
Yeah.
struggle a bit
Yeah.
to learn the ways of the new.
How to not struggle.
Yeah, unless something
Essentially.
seriously goes wrong, or there's a recession, or there's like, I mean,
Things outside your circle of
I mean,
control.
the way
basically.
things are heading right now, workplaces are going to have to adjust to fairer, I mean, to
Compensation.
basic fair workplaces, right? Where you've got good working hours, decent working hours, not good. I would say fair, decent working hours, which is 9 to 10 hours, which is, again, making sure you're getting your due rest, which means you are working a certain amount of time that is sustainable to your health, physical and mental. And we're also moving away from glorifying. I mean, back in the day, I mean, you would have chefs and bartenders who would take a lot of pride in saying, I worked 16 hours today. And it's like,
Why?
okay.
That just proves
what
you're
does
inefficient.
That proves, that means you're a donkey. I mean,
In the industry, it's called cheetah.
yeah, cheetah, yeah. Cheetah's the word.
I
mean,
hate the
yeah,
word.
cheetah.
I
mean,
hate the word because I know we weren't supposed to give Hindi galis, but cheetah is like,
Yeah.
you know what it is, right?
So-
And in us, and touching on a point that Sahil very rightly pointed out, I think there's old world hospitality and there's a new wave of hospitality, but there is us who are in the middle. We are this transitioning period of hospitality wherein it for us
We're just
at
kind
least,
of people who said, okay, cool, I've seen this.
Yeah.
And there's people who've said, ki aise hi chalta hai. And I'm like,
No.
it doesn't need to
We
be
break
way.
that.
Why? Why do you need to continue the circle? I mean, why can I
Yeah.
not have a fair workplace for my team?
I remember this
If
instant.
my team is able to leave on time, if I'm able to get them out, say, okay, cool, you're done with your job, you don't need to stay back 16 hours.
Yeah.
If you can do that job, if you can do your job in a set amount of time, if you're efficient enough, if you're doing what is needed from you, why do I get you to do the same job in an extended period of time? Because I mean,
Yeah,
from
makes
human mentality, what's going to happen is if I get 9 hours and I say, okay, cool, you do your job, you have 9 hours, let's go. I'm just going to drive, I'm going to be like, bam, 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 let's get everything done with.
Yeah.
Because the moment my job is done, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. But the moment you say, okay, cool, you have to work 16 hours, you have to work
Yeah.
12 hours, then I'm going to be like, you know what, I've got all the time in the world, I am not going anywhere till the
your
next
9
12
hour
hours.
job, your 9 hour
So
job.
I will
or-
slack. I
yeah,
will slack.
essentially your
I'm
8
gonna-
hour job becomes a 16 hour job.
But that's also where, like
I
you
mean,
guys,
just to protect my, just to protect my body, just to sustain and just to kind of, pace it out, I'm going to do the same job a lot slower.
It's
I'm just gonna
physically and
slack off.
mentally draining.
yeah,
kitchens and
you have
bartending.
24 hours, right? Like you guys said, an important part of your work is getting inspired by other
Yeah.
things. If you're spending 16 hours in a kitchen,
You don't have time for
You don't have ideas.
Yeah.
I remember this during.
I mean,
you were in Ras Al Khaimah during your industrial training. Right?
Yes, I was.
And
I
I
was
was
in Ras Al
also in the
Khaimah.
Middle East. I was in Dubai, and I was working for a very prestigious company at the time, business bay in the center of Dubai. Okay, and for me, I was this again. I still am that the kid in me is always like, yes, I want to learn everything. I want to have fun. I want to build good relationships. And I remember very early on into my internship, I joined with 3 other interns. Dubai is very strict laws. Like this, the ILO, the International Labour Organization. Like you have 10 core conventions, and there's something called signing a convention and then ratifying it. So signing just means that yes, you are party to that agreement, but then ratification means it's legally binding. India has signed only 5 of the 10. Dubai has signed and ratified all 10.
Okay.
So it's legally binding. You cannot work longer than 8 hours in Dubai, as per the government, right?
And I mean, if you are going
yeah.
to work longer than that, you get compensated for your due work.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was an Indian intern. I had a French intern, a Mexican intern, and an Egyptian intern. We would all clock in at the same time. 8 hours they would clock out. I would work every day for 14-15 hours. And it's not because of the fact that they wanted me to stay back. I said that yes, it's not healthy and not very sustainable, but then there are days that I wanted to work 9 hours and I've left in 9 hours. So no questions asked, because I know that those extra couple of hours that I put in were for my personal growth. No one asked me to do them. I did them because I wanted to do them. So glorifying that is not something that the industry should do. That I work 16 hours.
I'm like, yes, 16 घंटा काम किया. Hey, very good. Very good.
I did my dues.
Divorced and alcoholic? Very good.
I did my 9 hours work, and then I did something extra that would help me in the future. And I remember this so well. I was put on the range. So the range is where all the cooking happens, right? Usually interns are always doing back-end work, like peeling potatoes, chopping onions, doing all of that. Range is cooking. Like you're on the cooking range, making food to dispense to guests, which interns are not allowed to do, right? Which is wrong. I feel like if they do show promise, you should let them do it. And I did that. And I remember the director of food and beverage walking past, and he looked at me, and I was making food, and he was just like, who let you make food? And I was just like, my executive chef let me make food. He put me on the range. Like I report to him. He was like, when I was an intern, I was scrubbing the freezer, working 17 hours a day. And see, the thing is, I have no filter. Okay. I looked at him.
He's shameless, huh? He's shameless.
I'm shameless. This is
without
director
knowing
food
the story, I know he's had given it to him. He's like
30 years of experience in the food and beverage industry. I looked.
He's gone full Gordon Ramsay. You fucking donkey!
I said, listen, I'm sorry that you didn't fight for what you wanted 30 years ago. I fought for what I wanted. I know every single nook and cranny of that freezer. I cleaned it out myself. I restocked that freezer. I know where everything is. I know what's going to expire. I know every single thing down to a fault, like down to a T. I know this.
That's super important. I mean, I think what he said over here, I think is super, super important. It's not that he's just kind of said, okay, I'm an intern, I'm going to go to the range. He's learned the job. He's learned the nuances. He's learned the nooks and crannies. He's done his due work. He's made sure he's learned the nitty-gritties, right? And that might take an X amount of time, but it could also take X by 2 amount of time. Depends on your
caliber.
Not just caliber, but also desire to learn, right? I
mean,
mean,
I didn't put myself there.
I mean,
I was put
what-
there by my chef.
I mean,
So it's not like you jumped like steps and then
you
went
not,
ahead.
not with
You
a sense of
can-
entitlement, not
Yeah.
saying, ki, okay, cool, I am this guy and I am going to be cooking because I am cooler than everyone, but it is saying, ki, okay, cool, I really like what I'm doing, I'm going to absorb as much as I can,
Yeah.
and I want to be absorbing, and
You have to ask the uncomfortable questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can be on autopilot where you're okay, cool, there's also that breed, right, of people that is like, okay, cool, I'm going to do how much is required.
And then leave.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing
Yeah.
less, and that's fair. All justice to them.
Yeah.
The time
Fair
will come
enough.
when it's due.
It's a personal choice at the end of the day. Hospitality
I
is
respect
subjective
that.
and relative.
I respect that.
Yeah.
There are days that
But-
we respect, but you need to ask uncomfortable
But for
questions.
guys
and
like
take
Aditya
that jump.
who've said, okay, cool, I have a strong desire to learn, pick up, and I am going to pay my dues to make this happen.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
And I remember this because right after this, I didn't stop after that happened. Like, he was like, okay, I had to do a month of service as well after that, and I knew that he would be my reporting manager. And it's when I went into service, it was the most beautiful thing because everyone in service protected me from him. They were like, we know the amount of hard work you put in. If he says anything, we are there to stand up for you.
That's beautiful.
Okay, and I think that's the most important part because after that, hungering. I also interned at O Pedro before joining Taj.
Right.
I came in with 4 other interns again. In that 45-day period, I did my dues for like a week, like the intern work. And then Chef Hussain, who I still consider one of India's best chefs, by a mile. He's insanely good.
He's one of the greatest. we've
And
got.
he would take time out, teach me how to sharpen a knife. He would teach me how to do basic things. And then he said, you know what, like my plancha. So plancha is just like a flat top, like a grill, right? He was like, okay, like we've, someone had quit. And of course, hiring takes a bit of time. He was like, I want you on the plancha. And this is O Pedro, and I woken up at like 5 a.m. in the morning in cold sweat with my sous chef. Like, they used to call me Murli. Like, Murli, 526 portions of chorizo taco. And I'm like, in the morning I woken up, like, yes, chef. And I'm like, I'm at home. Like, what the hell? And it's that pressure that sort of forges you into this unbreakable sort of person that when you go into a very tough situation, that you have the mental fortitude to not break.
Yeah, but while you mentioned that, I think there was recently this guy on LinkedIn, some CEO who said, when you start out a job, you should be working 14, 15
Yeah. Infosys.
Infosys, yeah.
Whoever that guy is, I mean, I thought there was, I mean, such a... I think I honestly found it a bit absurd.
But
it's
someone doesn't need to tell us, right? If we are passionate about it,
We
we
do
do
it
it
anyway.
anyway.
Do it anyway.
And what if you're actually good at your job? What if
Yeah.
you can actually pull off? I mean, I think aptitude matters, right?
Yeah.
What if you are able to absorb in your given amount of time? Is it absolutely necessary? I mean, just to kind of
I think-
contradict what you've said. What if a person is able to absorb and pick up in the amount of time that they have?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's wrong with that?
In 1 week,
What
I was
was-
on the range,
Also,
and
I
then the
think-
rest
I
of the
think-
interns were like, "How are you on the range?"
I mean-
like they were doing their intern work for their entire internship
Also, because
period.
I've done both sides of it,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
that, I mean, operating when you've got a fresher mind, when you've got, I mean, fresher ideas, when you've
Peak
got time,
performance.
I mean, your performance is just higher.
Athletes do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
they
I think
train
it's so
hard,
important
but
to
they
rest your
rest harder.
body
So it's-
and mind.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with us. Like both of us are from the design industry, right? A lot of the times, like when you're a freelancer, the norm is to charge by the hour. But what
Yeah.
if you're more efficient and you get more work done in the hour and you're
Yeah.
taking less time to do the entire project? So why do you deserve to get paid less than
Yeah.
someone else?
Absolutely.
It's the same concept.
And I'm just gonna be like, I still remember internship days because I was told, okay, cool, you're gonna be here for 12 hours, and you're gonna be doing this job. I would just wipe my glass, keep it aside, and I'm like, okay, cool. I don't want to be doing more stuff, so I just start wiping the glass again. I feel like I'm not fuck these guys, I'm not going.
That's the flip side.
But having talked
I mean, I would not condone that, but
I don't
it's like,
condone
dude, if you're gonna make me work like a donkey, I am gonna work like a donkey.
We have like a segment we probably want to get into now is
Yeah.
we're all at the end of it as students we're all broke. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have money. So how do you end up like coming up with a good dish or a good cocktail on the budget? And we've brought out like stuff that you find in every student's home. We have a bottle of Old Monk.
You know-
student homes. Yeah.
Not just student homes. You know, I don't know why this beautiful bottle gets so much hate. It is such a good rum.
Who hates on this?
Bro, you do not understand the number of
There are
snobs.
a lot of
that
people
was
that
my
hate-
first drink.
The number
Yeah.
of snobs that hate on this drink. This
My
is a
first hard
fantastic
drink
drink.
was Old Monk.
The best thing, okay, is after you finish this bottle of Old Monk, take a lighter, okay, and
Yeah, and I know what it is.
just burn it. The smell of burnt molasses and cane and caramel is nuts. It's like almost intoxicating to a point. I don't care about the liquid. I don't care much for it. But then I will always ensure if I see a bottle of Old Monk that's left, I'm like, I know it's maybe a very weird quirk, but it's like that's the good shit. Yeah, because I mean, like I think we're one of the few bartenders and chefs that aren't heavy druggies. I don't even smoke cigarettes. And it's very rare in the industry because everyone's a cokehead. Okay? Everyone's a
Not
cokehead.
everyone. Dude, that's a bit going a bit too
No,
far,
okay.
but-
It's all very hush hush.
Yeah. These are few of the ingredients that you always find inside a student.
Aditya's gonna make pan con tomato.
Heaven.
Pan con
And what about this then?
See, Amul cheese.
Aditya, can you do that again?
I don't know if we're allowed to air this. We'll like start juggling this around. But yeah.
So here's the task.
Yeah.
We're going to give you all 30 seconds.
Okay.
That's it. We're going to time it.
Okay. So what do you
Let's-
want us to do with this?
Come up with an original recipe for you. It might be a original cocktail drink inspired with the conversations that we are having today. Other than this, you have $150 worth of mixers that you can buy,
Easy.
and you get another $150. The core ingredients need to be these. Let's see what you guys can cook. The whole idea is that we are going to go home.
Yeah, we'll probably try making this.
We're gonna make
Both
it.
of us don't know how to cook or make
okay.
anything, so like
Mm.
something that a student can pull off if
Easy
they
peasy.
don't. Yeah,
Easy
Something
peasy.
that's really easy.
Yeah,
but still like tastes
Okay,
good.
Yeah, but you just need to tell us like what you have at home. Because if you don't even have a kadai,
no, that,
No, that we'll find out.
That will-
With that stuff,
we
we'll
have
figure
stock
it out.
kitchens that way. The only thing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we don't have is ingredients,
and like
money.
sense in the kitchen. Like I burn ready-made parathas. Like it's
The other day we cut.
oh no.
We were opening a coconut with my
Oh, yeah,
Japanese saw.
That's me also.
yeah, like we got tender coconuts from Zepto, and like one of them was not like you couldn't stab it open with a knife.
Dude, he's gifted me a knife. He's threatened me on my life that hey, if you ever use this knife to cut ice,
I will kill
I
him.
will come. I will find you. I will kill you.
This is a carpentry saw that I use.
Yeah, we
like-
used it to cut open like a.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
we good?
Let's go.
The time starts now.
Alright, cool.
A few moments later.
Okay, so
Are
what?
we good?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Why don't we have the dish first?
This is something that I think is very easy because you can use bread in very multiple ways. If you want, what we can do is I'm just gonna write down fucking cornflakes as well. So what I like doing is maybe 10 rupees. I'll give you the breakdown. So that's
100
20.
rupees, 105 rupees, 150.
Dude, I have 20, 30, 40, 55,
15 रुपए का बना होगा.
55, 60, 62 rupees total costing.
Whoa.
Additional. Okay, just to go.
How about we just have you and run us through the.
Bread's easy. Okay. This is gold. This is gold. Never forget
It's not
that.
gold, it's Guju gold.
It's good gold. Yeah. Some butter. Butter.
Just over here, orgasms to this stuff.
Can't confirm or deny.
It's change.
You don't need it. So 92 rupees. No. Okay. So what I would do is take 2 slices of bread. Never waste the top slice. I don't know why people don't like it.
That's the best.
It's insane. Take the top slice and maybe the second slice of bread. What you want to do with this is you actually want to either grate this or slice it up. Put it in between the 2 pieces of bread. Of course, put a little butter and then put this so it jams up together. Take a belan and just roll it down. Okay? Roll it down. Then what you do is I've written down my ingredients, to be honest, are onions, coriander, chili powder, salt, eggs, lemon, cornflakes, and some butter. So you'd make this little roll. This flat disc. Okay, what you want to do then is, if you have a large enough container, beat the egg with a bit of water. Okay, make it fluffy. Dip this bread into your egg and then crush cornflakes and keep it on the side. Dip this from the egg wash into the cornflakes.
Right.
Okay, and then you pat it dry, ensure there's no excess egg, and you deep fry it. Okay, so when you deep fry this, you're going to get this super crunchy sort of base, almost like nachos, but really crunchy. And then of course it has cheese in it, right? What I love doing is, because the moment I saw Old Monk, I thought chakna.
Yeah.
Right. So if you were to bridge what the two of us are saying together, I think I know that what he comes up with will, even if it's like a batanga, okay, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy, right? So I would say after this, you have to fine chop your tomatoes, your onions, and your coriander. Even if you want to add a little bit of chili, you can add a little bit of chili. Essentially, take the ingredients of a masala peanut or a masala papad. Okay, chop them all finely, mix them with first put salt in it. Okay.
Is it too early to start drinking?
I think it's a little early,
Yeah,
Sahil. I
it
mean,
is.
it's 2:40.
What? Yeah. Good time? Yeah.
So it's you you have this crunchy base at the bottom, right? And then you top it off with this mixture of onions and all of these things with chili powder and everything. And you slice up the bread at the bottom. Yeah,
We
And
hope so too.
Since it's the Pizzabox Paradox, right? So create this little cheesy pizza pull, very desi style, wherein you have these triangles of crispy bread filled with cheese and butter, and then on top of that you have everything that you would see in a masala papad or a masala peanut, and that's the perfect chakna to go on with.
There's so much texture going on, right?
There's so much
it's crunchy, it's fluffy,
It's fluffy
it's got
from
a
the
bit of
bread, it's
creaminess.
fried, it's extra crunchy because of the
It's
cornflakes.
like a roller coaster in your mouth.
Yeah, and then you have
Sounds
acid.
tasty,
You have
yeah,
acid
yeah.
from the lemon. You have acid from the tomatoes. You have sharpness from the onion. You have crunch from the onion. You have coriander, which is giving you freshness. You have chili powder, which is giving you heat.
Right.
Salt, which is very necessary. It's simple. It's things anyone can make. And yeah, that's what I probably do.
If you had to name the dish on
Yeah, what would you name it?
This is always the hardest part, no? What do you name your dish at the end of the day?
I'll just call mine
Murali's
Rendi.
Chakna.
I just call this Rendi, you call that Rona.
Together it would work, but as a standalone, that's not a very good name for yourself.
We just call it Chakna.
We just call it Chakna. The pizza box.
Why don't you?
Oh yeah, so
I think you should show
show
your drawing to the camera.
It's like the worst thing
It's actually
I've
great.
ever seen in my life. Are those bubbles?
no. I mean, I know they look like. See, man, I failed art school. Okay. Right. So
God.
what we've got here.
My jaws hurt.
Is that pebble
See,
ice?
costing में old monk नहीं बैठेगा तो अब
नहीं old monk को छोड़ के.
हाँ, so even if it's in costing,
It says stolen.
you just pick up from your roommate and you say.
That's exactly what
we did with this.
we were supposed to return it.
Yeah, so that's not happening. That's not happening.
Where's my old monk, bro? I don't know, bro. How would I know?
We met this chef and bartender, and they were alcoholics. They just drank the entire thing. Yeah.
But yeah, what you've got here is because it's super hot outside, and also what we don't realize about Old Monk is it's such a robust spirit, right? I mean, there's so much going on. I would always do like Old Monk and tall drink, right? I mean, you'd want to expand the spectrum. I mean, if I had to put it in like simpler terms, I mean, think of like Pink Floyd's spectrum, right? Yeah. You've got like one straight line, but then it's passing through a prism that's kind of opening up the spectrum of it.
Forgive me for saying we don't do drugs. He's clearly on something right now.
So it's kind of like opening up the spectrum, right? And I mean, you kind of want to open up the flavors of the Old Monk. Right. I mean, A, to kind of make it super approachable, and B, also because I mean, there's so much going on that you'd want to kind of, let it express itself. It's super hot. I'd always do Old Monk in a highball format, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, stolen Old Monk. Of course, with burnt bread, you just kind of take whatever bread Aditya's burnt, you sit that in Old Monk for a couple of hours.
You just directly put the
and
bread?
then you strain, you just put the bread, you strain. You're going to lose some Old Monk, I warn you, okay? You're going to lose some, you have to live with that. You can just eat the bread.
It's always better if you get the Old Monk stolen from Gurgaon, because then it won't really harp on your conscience. Old Monk in Bangalore is also selected.
And I mean, it's one of those things you can afford to infuse with bread because you're not going to like...
Yeah.
But then what you've also got is, I mean, you get that a bit of toastiness from that, right? I mean, that's also your fancy schmancy. You can just be like, hey, burnt bread, Old Monk. Huh? Yeah. You've got a bunch of Dr. Ice. Dr. Ice, super reliable. I hope they pay me as well. But no, I mean, just some super clean ice. You can get it at any Swiggy retail store. You just crush a bunch of it. Yeah. You just put that in to hold up temperature.
Right.
I mean, crushed ice makes a drink super cold, super fast, and it keeps it that way. Right, so you want a lot of ice, not a bit. I mean, I know a lot of guys they like to put a couple of cubes of ice in everything. That actually makes your drink, I mean, dilute faster than a lot of ice. It's like how they say, united we stand, divided we fall. Right. It's kind of the same thing with ice. So a bunch of ice. You got just some fresh lime wedges. I mean, a single lime, you cut into 6 wedges. You put that in, you squeeze that up, all right. With the skin on, don't try and be clean and all of that. There's a lot of tasty oils at the skin of your lime, so I mean, don't press it and take it out. I would always dump it in, right?
De-seed it if you want.
You've got, I mean, step by step. You've got the Old Monk, all right. You've got the lime. You've got a bit of Demerara, not too much. You literally need like a teaspoon because you've already got so much sweetness from
Demerara for poor people is brown sugar.
Brown sugar.
Okay.
Brown sugar.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just about to.
Demerara. Look how pretentious he is.
Oh, the pretentious does not end. It does not end.
Sahil, you forgot we are on a budget.
Yeah,
we will not.
Demerara sugar.
So you just
and
kind of
student households do not have brown sugar.
Arey regular chini.
Regular.
Okay, fine.
Chalega.
So you just kind of, combine it till it's like, I mean, the sugar is not like too sugary. I mean, it's not like, I mean, how do you say it? I mean, it's like fully dissolved.
Yeah.
You put in a little bit of ice. You kind of whip it up again.
You should clip that. The sugar is not too sugary.
Yeah.
Top 100 things said in this century by industry leaders.
One drink later.
Sugar is not sugary.
Yeah. More ice. Move it a bit more. Okay. By this time, your drink is like nice and cold. You keep adding more and more ice and just move it a bit. You don't go like full berserk and be like, no. I mean, it's just, okay, 1-2 movements, more ice. 1-2 movements, more ice. Till all the way up. And what you're going to realize is just with a bit of Old Monk, I mean, your drink is almost full. All right. Then you're gonna top it off with cumin soda, jeera soda. Okay.
Oh, nice. I drink
mean, because I mean, while it sounds like, I mean, a lot of people are gonna be like, hey, kya jeera soda dala? You know? It's got, I mean, cumin is an amazing flavor.
Yeah.
It works really, really, really well with something like an Old Monk. I mean, the molasses, it works really well with cumin. So, I mean, it's something that's easy, approachable. Your friends are going to love it. I mean, they're going to have a bunch of it. You're going to be drunk before you realize it. And and then you're just spending like, I mean, you can make a bunch of drinks for $100. I mean, you've got stolen Old Monk, you've got Dr. Rice, which is the most expensive thing, $60. You've got a lime, which is like $5. You've got mint, which is you can buy a bunch for $20.
Just use the ice you have in the freezer.
No, Dr. Rice. The final bit, very, very, very important. Do not fuck around with the mint. The mint needs to be fresh. It needs to be fresh. You can't have that black, withered mint. It needs to be like, I mean, you need that Swiggy Genie mint, you know? You know what I'm talking about? Like the Blinkit mint, I mean, it needs to be... It's like, you know, popping, you know? It's like big, bright, and don't put like one patta and all. I mean, you need to take like a whole bouquet of it.
And then like...
And you kind of leave it on the glass, so every time you're taking a sip, you just feel like a burst of freshness.
Yeah, you'll always see
that's a big
bartenders
difference, huh?
abuse the mint, where like they take it and then all their frustration, they're like...
But what is great is, I've never heard someone speak about a cocktail like this in my life, because it's always like, you know, when we are drinking, it's like, okay, put this much, top it up with Coke, put 2-3 ice cubes, you're done. But like,
usually, I would do this for people around me. For myself, I pour an Old Monk. I'm too lazy.
But that is like, I mean, just that releases the aromas and oils, but also makes it go black faster. Cause
Yeah, but
you
Blinkit
bruised
mint
it.
makes all the difference. Use like good quality mint.
Blinkit mint.
Let's hope they sponsor us down the line.
So all of us need to start
How
getting
many
sponsored.
people are going to sponsor us? Old Monk, Blinkit,
Dr.
Dr. Rice, Swiggy Genie.
English oven.
English oven.
Amul.
Amul, yeah. Wow, I'd love to get sponsored by Amul.
Theo Cafe, thanks for bringing us to letting
The
us
venue,
do this over
yeah.
here. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. This has been so much fun so far.
Yeah, but practice. We were just going to talk about. We spoke about how living life with a budget in your student days is very important. But both of your culinary industry, right? You all use some of the most expensive raw materials and ingredients. Like I remember when we used to go to food hall with parents, we used to never buy shit because like then we realized we just go to kirana. But ingredients do make a difference, right? And how do you, and drinks for example, like if you're going to practice a bunch of drinks, you're going to need a bunch of bottles, you're going to fuck up so many times. How do you make sure you get good at this art without, you know, having a huge dent on your pocket?
So I'll tell you something that I think the two of us are very, very vocal about. It's that while you may want to taste Hokkaido scallops and uni from Japan and the fanciest ingredients from everywhere, the bounty of ingredients you have in your garden or in the local sabzi wala thela is insanely good. You will not get fresher ingredients for cheaper than from your local sabzi mandi. And it's just that, you know, as India as well, like we have this bounty of wild sags and spinaches that just grow everywhere. Okay, and the thing is, we're scared shitless that we'll pick it up and we'll be in the hospital with some disease. But that's not the case. You just need to know what to pick up, what not to. This comes, of course, with a lot of reading and practice reading. But I think if you want to constantly keep like messing around with stuff, buying a lot of ingredients, doing trials at home, it's very important to also sort of set an upper limit saying, okay, what is the outcome of this trial? Do I want to be buying, say if I want to make like a mutton biryani, I can make do with a mutton that I'm getting locally for 1,500 rupees a kilo, or do I want to use Bangalore mutton, which is the best mutton in India, that costs me 5,500 a kilo? What is the end result? What is the consumption pattern for it at home? I'm making mutton biryani for this fellow. No, I know he'll eat it. Even if it's shit, he'll eat it. Right? So I'll make that mutton biryani. It's just that you need to process those ingredients very differently and respect them. Yes, an Indian mutton is more grainy, is more fibrous.
Think of an onion. Simple example. Think of an onion. You take a raw onion, you bite it, you'll be like, "Arey, fuck, this is terrible," right? But that same onion, when processed, right? I mean, there's a whole reaction that happens called the Maillard reaction.
Yeah.
Science. To treat
Reducing
onions to heat.
sugars, yeah.
Um,
You can make
it's
an onion
tasty.
jam out of it.
It's tasty. I mean, there's so many applications to onion. Onion does not even add any kind of nutrition to. I mean, compared to all other vegetables, onion does not add a lot of nutrition. But I mean,
It's an alum.
everything
It's
has
acidic.
onion in it because I mean, the same onion that you would reject outrightly, just biting into it, when treated right, becomes possibly one of the tastiest things to consume.
Yeah.
So does this.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I love tomatoes raw. I mean,
Tomatoes raw are insane.
Yeah.
I think I'm not as big a fan of certain tomatoes. Like this I would eat because I know this is a nice, beautiful, sweet, acidic tomato.
A local vendor. That's from a local vendor.
It's from a
I'm
local
sure.
vendor. It's imperfect, it's ugly delicious is what we always do. It's exactly what he said. As people on a budget, you just need to know how to treat your ingredients right, and those ingredients will sing you the most perfect
Yeah,
symphony.
and fall in love with them, man.
Yeah.
Fall in love with them. Treat them with the love and respect that they deserve. I mean, just because it is from your home, do not undermine the value of what you have.
Yeah.
Just look
Right?
at look
I mean,
at
this is no
how long
different.
it's taken.
I mean, this would not be any different. I mean, someone in another part of the world is looking at an ingredient from India and saying, "Holy fuck, this cumin or this cinnamon
Yeah.
or this cardamom is
We
from India," and I'm like,
We brought the
Yeah,
world's
bazaar mein
best
baithe hain.
chefs to India. We brought the world's best chefs to India, and they were blown away when we took them to the local markets, the sabzi mandis, and the cow gullies and the
and the
spice
same
markets.
stuff is like 50,
Spice
60
markets.
times the price of what you
Anywhere
would get in
else.
India. And I mean, you're like, dude, you have it just at your disposal. I
We
mean,
take it for granted. You don't realize it's like we take our own ingredients so much for granted.
just
And
fall in love with them.
fall
Just
in love with your ingredients, and the only right concise answer to your question is that you take ingredients, just love them the right way, give them the love they deserve, give them the respect they deserve, and do your due diligence before you dive into anything. That's what we call mise en place.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't make a dish that I want to make. Like if I need onions and tomatoes and rice and everything, while my onions are already browning, I can't sit and chop my tomatoes. My onion will burn before I put my tomatoes
Yeah.
in. Everything needs to be preset. You need to have a direction in what you want to go in and how you want to process your stuff in order to achieve the best result.
Why don't we give, I mean, हम लोग इज्जत क्यों नहीं देते हमारा?
Like, why do we
Yeah.
not respect this beautiful tomato?
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But talking about local ingredients, right? We should also celebrate our local joints. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, fine dining. I
Easy.
respect fine
No.
dining. It's
No.
great.
You would
stuff.
never find us in fine dining establishments.
Dirty, dingy,
How-
dusty.
How about
food.
this? Both of you all go one by one. Give us 3
Like your favorite local restaurant or your favorite local bar that
Based
you
in
would-
Bangalore.
Based in Bangalore.
In Bangalore.
In
Yeah.
Bangalore.
3, not your obvious bobs, not your
yeah.
obvious.
Yeah, no.
I was, there is in Banaswadi, there's a Gaudru military hotel.
Oh.
Okay, and if you ever see the word military hotel attached to any establishment, oh my god, the food. Whew. Gaudru military hotel by a mile, the best mutton chops, the best ragi mudde, mamsas, all local stuff that you'd get here that you won't find anywhere else. It's a very, very Bangalorean thing.
Right.
So
That's one.
yeah,
One of my favorite breakfasts in Bangalore. And every time I mention it, I mean, they're like, hey, what's this? This place called Siddhappa Hotel.
Siddhappa Hotel, amazing. Those
Where
are-
exactly? Hold on, I'll tell you exactly where it is. So Ashwath Nagar.
Bell Road,
Usually I
honestly.
just Google places when I walk or Uber them, but Ashwath Nagar, Siddhappa Hotel. So there'll just be one guy walking around with dosa. You pick up, and there's half dosas, and those dosas are so fucking clean, easy on your tummy. It's not overly fluffy. It's
Yeah.
not overly crispy. It's the right amount of crisp and
Yeah.
fluff. And I'm
a
not.
Bangalore dosa.
I don't want to sound like I know. I mean, there's going to be like someone or the other who's like, hey, you just came into Bangalore. What do you know about the perfect dosa? But for me, that
Fuck
is
them.
the perfect dosa.
Everyone has
taste
opinions.
is subjective, and for me, subjectively, that is my favorite dosa ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I actually like. I'm going to leave the next two. Like he can take over the bars, but there's another place that I really wanted to mention was it's in Kamanali. Okay, it's called Thai Chef. It's a small little apartment that's been converted into a Thai eatery called Thai Chef. Oh my god, the food. Oh my god, the food. And it's Thai food.
Yeah.
Like you go and tell them I want less spicy food,
Yeah,
you will
I've
still
heard.
find chilies.
Yeah. Thai
And-
spicy, Thai spicy.
Thai spicy. And it's insanely good. Thai chef is Kamanali. Insane.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
let's get some bars in.
Yeah.
all right. New spot, super exciting. I personally love it. It's a 2-minute walk. 5-minute walk from where I live in Shantinagar. This bar called Wine in Progress. Wine in Progress. I think that place deserves so much love for what they're trying to do. They're trying to make wine fun, approachable. It's a vibe.
No snob wine
Yeah,
society.
no snob wine. There's no snobbery. Usually when you're wine, you're like,
Hashtag countertop
Isn't that-
Prithvi.
yeah, no,
Lorraine.
but what they've done is they've said, okay, cool. We're gonna stop all that fancy schmancy. We're gonna make wine approachable for people like us, right? That want a fun environment, but still wanna enjoy good wine. So Wine in Progress, good selection of wines, super approachable, amazing team, and Chef Karan possibly. His food has my heart. The guy who makes
Karan
the food.
Upmanyu?
Yeah. That food is like
Yeah.
top notch. So Wine in Progress, number 2.
That's one bar that we have. Which other bar would you recommend to the audience in Bangalore?
I think Spirit Forward, Muro, Soka. I think fairly.
Yeah, I would say I think I know we have one each left, but I would distribute it between these 3 places: Muro, Soka, Bar, Spirit Forward. To be very honest with
So
you.
Muro is based in.
Museum
That's
Road.
us.
That's
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 the bar.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the bar. I'm found at.
Not drinking, working.
Not drinking.
Working, actually
Taking
working.
care of. You'll find me there.
Muro,
if you wanna have a drink, you wanna have a fun time, you wanna
Yeah,
chill.
for a person
you
with
can
no
find me there.
skin in the game, I can take this because it may be conflict of interest for him. But I feel like these 3 bars have 3 different and very unique personalities to them. I think Muro, again, as you said, it's this really regal facade with very approachable drinks. Bar Spirit Forward is everything that I would want because it's a spirit forward, cocktail centric bar. Like you go there and you take a sip of the drink and
The
you're
whole
like
section
fucking,
of spirit
Yeah,
forward drinks. Yeah.
Spirit forward
It's
drinks.
pretty
You're
cool,
like
yeah.
punched in the face with like alcohol, and I love it. I love spirit forward drinks that are dry and not too sweet, right? And then you have Soka, that is this. It's sort of like the pulse of what you want a very small Bangalore establishment to be. Very cheap, like they call them nano plates, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out Chef Sombir, Avinash, and Sagarika. Nano plates with like really tiny portions of food, very well priced. Excellent, very approachable, easygoing drinks. And then with Muro, like it's this paradise of his fancy schmancy
What fancy
burning
schmancy?
of steel wool, making it look like there's Diwali on
We
your
saw that
table.
yesterday.
But I'll tell you something. Like there are some drinks that I've been there from when Muro started. When of course I will come to kick him on the ass if he does things wrong. So I've been there and I've seen this natural progression of his creativity in terms of refining those drinks. Because initially it was the drinks that Sahil. This is Sahil. This is a Sahil Essani menu, and then you have to adapt it to this is a Bangalore menu. This is something that Bangaloreans will drink, and I've seen that movement and sort of progress in his beverage program. And Muro is definitely a place that deserves a lot of love. Good Thai food, and his cocktails. Like you can close your ears for this.
This is not a paid promotion.
It's not a paid promotion, disclaimer. You can close your ears, but I think Muro has some fantastic cocktails that are very revolutionary to the Bangalore scene right now.
Yeah.
Yes, you've had institutions like Copitas and all of that. That's been there for a long time.
I
but
think Big
you
Brewski
need
also deserves
Big
some
Brew-
credit.
Oh,
for-
definitely.
yeah,
Big
yeah.
Brewski
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
deserves
yeah,
credit.
yeah.
And MK Manoj Kumar, their now beverage director as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he makes a mean Negroni.
Even ZLB is doing some cool stuff right now.
ZLB23 is doing
Yeah,
really
really
cool.
like-
One of the prettiest, most amazing bars that I walked into, and I'd be like, wow. Like it's a proper speakeasy, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a speakeasy.
Yeah.
You have to find it. Like
You have to
you have to
find
go
it.
through. You have to go through a kitchen into a lift, and then you have to. You walk up and you're like, holy fuck, where did this? How did this happen?
Yeah, I thought I'll end up in the
This is so
compost bin
great.
or
This
something.
is so great. We wanted 3. Now we have like a
Yeah, we have like a proper
Yeah.
list.
proper
Yeah.
that we're going to put out. And
So much fun.
except the 2 of you all telling us this, we've had one interesting, insight in the culinary industry recently. The show called The Bear.
It's my favorite thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
my
yeah,
favorite
yeah,
thing
yeah,
because
yeah.
it
The
is
bears
the
are cool, yeah?
it's the
Yeah.
realest show about food you can get.
Yeah.
Yes, every single thing that happens there is true.
I mean, it's so relatable. I mean, on so many levels.
I was like getting angry with them. Like, I know this is a
dude.
No, because
How
you
did you
mentioned
not
peeling.
order the gas? How?
You mentioned peeling potatoes, and I remember that
You
scene where
forgot to
she's peeling
change the
mushrooms.
paper on
and-
Yeah,
the
yeah,
POT
yeah.
printer.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know that scene where he's telling her, his sous chef, that she, like, when she really fucked up and didn't close the orders the previous night,
Yeah.
and then they switched it on, and he was like, just give me 2 seconds, like, get out of my, like, move out of the pass, move out of the pass, and then she's like, oh no, but you can do this, you can get this. No, move the fuck out of the way right there, because if your executive chef is standing there, and this is where I think I'm a little old-fashioned, is if your executive chef is there trying to make sense of
Trust
this.
your guy. Yeah,
Trust your guy, man.
your guy.
You've joined him or her. Okay, doesn't matter. You've joined him or her because you want to learn and you want to be part of that growth progress. And the one misconception a lot of people have in Bear,
You could also
he
learn how
gave
to
us
not do things.
Yeah.
You could also learn how to not do things. I mean, the XZ might fuck up, the bar manager might fuck up, but you might learn, okay, cool, this is what I not do
yeah.
when my time comes.
And you know the part where he's told her to get off the line twice, and she's still talking back, and then he fucking flips it.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of my line. Why do you drive him to that point? He's already stressed. He has 400 orders that he has to cater to. He has orders worth 30 in stock. Like, what do you do? Like, yes, it's a very stressful time, and like reacting in that way is not the best thing to do, but it's human tendency to react that way when you're really overwhelmed. And another thing that I really like, I had a very long discussion with my girlfriend about this as well, with different perspectives, because we were on opposite ends of that discussion about when he told her that that dish that she was trying to make was not ready. And then she went and served it to a guest when he said it was not ready. Never do that. You will never. Stepping on the toes, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
Never. Like, you need to respect the position you're in and respect the person who's put you in that position. Never forget where you're from, who got you there, the people you've grown with. Always grow with people. But
I mean, you
that
give
was
respect, you give respect.
that was a big no-no for me.
Yeah.
Like, if I had someone under me who had gone and made a dish that I had not approved or that we had not worked on together, and then finally, yes, approvals come from all and then push it out to the guest. If they had gone and done that, oh my god! Like, I'm a very patient person in the kitchen.
But I
would have
mean,
lost
if
my
you have to
shit.
kind of quickly wind up on this question, if I have to give a piece of advice, I think it would be, it's something that I kind of figured out a couple of days back as well, right? So it's a learning curve for me as well. I think the journey is kind of like surfing, and there's waves, and the waves are the highs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a wave and you learn to ride it, and when you've got the perfect wave and you kind of picked it on, you're like, fuck, what a feeling. But understand that surfing, I mean, waves are inconsistent, right? It's not that a wave is going to hit you every 15 minutes, a wave is going to hit you this and that.
Periodically.
It's
Yeah.
going to be periodic. I think it's very important to fall in love with not just the idea of riding a wave, but it's to fall in love with the sea. It's to be one with the sea and say, okay, cool. It's, I mean, if you're just gonna wait for waves, you're like, "Arey, aara nahi."
Yeah.
You're like, okay, there's so many of these. Okay, ultimate high, gratified.
Adrenaline junkies.
Yeah. But I mean, there's gonna be times where you're like, okay, cool. I mean,
Kuch nahi ho raha hai. I'm
thing
in
is
the sea.
happening, and then you're like, you're in the middle of the water and you're sad. You're like, kuch nahi ho raha. Nothing's happening. So I think it's important to fall in love with the journey, to fall in love with the process, to
Yep.
fall in love with the nitty-gritties, right? I mean, there's this episode on Love That's Robots called Zima Blue.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I mean, the guy at the end of it, he's like, I want to go back to doing the simple little things and do it with a lot of pride, with a lot of, passion. I think it's important to fall in love with what you do. I know it's very cliche that people, I know it's been said multiple times, but I personally feel like the journey is everything. So learn to
It
fall
is
in love
everything.
with the journey.
Yeah.
I think it's important to, it's good for your head also, right? I mean, when you're enjoying every day, you're having fun with people, you're better together, right? I mean,
It's
just learn
always
just learn to
the
have a bit
journey.
of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I think sometimes we take our lives
seriously.
too seriously, and we're like, "Arey yaar, I mean, this guy's doing this, and I'm comparing my life to this person and that person, and and also social media has done that to us, right?
Yeah.
Where we just see the better aspects of everyone's life, because obviously you won't be like, okay, cool, I'm scrubbing the floor, thug life.
Hustle, grind,
hustle, yeah.
grind daily.
But you're always going to see the highs, and I mean, I think with the internet, I think we've kind of gotten used to seeing the highs, and you comparing our lives to the lives of others.
And half of it's fake.
Yeah.
It's made up and
God,
it's fake.
so
and,
much is
and,
fake.
And I'm just like, dude, I think if we put it into perspective, if you're able to fall in love with what you do and truly fall in love with it, it just makes you happier inside.
Yeah.
It makes, I mean, everything a lot more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Become one with the journey.
Yeah, that's
And when you look back,
great
you're like,
advice.
fuck, I mean, whatever happened, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a lot of friends. I did a bit of swimming. I rode a few waves.
I counted like a school of fish.
I stopped every now and then to have a beer or two. Of course, not swim right after.
That's irresponsible.
But again, I mean, I think it's the complete package. I mean, just the pleasure of saying, okay, I've got a well-stacked fridge. I've got a well-set station that's nice and clean and organized.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're able to fall in love with that, I think it's just
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it really mean to be creative in your industries?
Hmm.
Because there's a thin line between being a good chef and being great, being a good bartender and being a great bartender. What makes that creativity?
I think it's simply asking the questions why. Why? Okay, you've put something on a plate. It's tasty. But what purpose does it serve, right? What meaning does it serve? I mean, of course you could, I mean, there's something that's delicious. I mean, but I mean, when you talk about creativity and when you're saying, okay, I mean, creativity, it does not necessarily mean excellence, right? I mean, creativity is creativity. You could also have a tasty dish that is just stupidly simple, like a peanut masala. I love peanut masala.
Same.
Insane.
Right. But when you talk about creativity, you are specifically talking about that whole process of it. And if you ask me what creativity means to me, it's asking the question why, what purpose does it serve, what story am I telling, how am I telling it, and why should you drink this, or why should you eat this? Why?
I'm very,
Period.
Yeah, why period? Why question mark? I think that's...
Why is this ingredient in it? Why have you made a foam out of this specific ingredient? Why have
What
you...
purpose does it serve?
What purpose does it serve? What is the purpose of...
I feel like for me creativity is a projection of myself. Okay, what do I feel inside that I'm able to project in the form of food and technique and representation of that food? I think that's what being creative should mean, right? It's so easy to go online and just copy shit off of Gronda and all the best chefs in the world, but why are they the best chefs in the world? They're not cooking other people's food, they're cooking their food and they're doing it well. So
It's an extension of
it's
yourself.
an extension of
Yeah.
yourself. A knife is an extension of my hand. Cooking is an extension of my soul.
Yeah.
Okay, it needs to be that personal. Creativity is projecting yourself in the most personal manner possible. You want to cook for others, you cook for others. You want to cook for yourself, you cook for yourself. It's as simple as that.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Either works.
Dev, I'll
Now I think we'll move on to the question that we conclude every episode with is, do you know what the Pizzabox Paradox is?
I actually looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I did. I mean, I read the lovely excerpt that
Yeah, you're sitting
we
with
went
the nerds.
through.
You're sitting with the nerds.
You're sitting with the nerds. Yeah.
Okay.
We come prepared. To
So-
him more than me.
it's
but
essentially asking the question about why a circular pizza, which is cut into triangular slices, comes
Square
in a
box.
square box.
Yeah.
Do you know
Do you
what?
have an answer?
I actually read this. This was a riddle somewhere like a year ago.
Yeah.
I feel like, again, I would just harp on
I don't know the
secondary
answer,
part.
so I'm not going to bullshit around.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No,
I
we want the bullshit
what
answers.
do you think? Why
You
do you
want me to
think?
speculate?
Yeah,
Yes.
just give us the most fuck all answer.
If I have to speculate,
One speculative answer.
once.
I'm gonna be
It's
such
actually
a-
very easy. I mean, it's like you're taking three different geometrical shapes that should never fit along with each other or sort of or synergize with each other, and you can actually make them work while having completely different compositions. It's like, have you seen that reel have you seen that really funny reel that went viral where there's a children's play box and she has a cuboid, a rectangle, a triangle, Okay, of course there are like cutouts of
I feel
everything.
like a boomer right now.
Yeah, dude,
I don't
you put a triangle shaped child's toy in the triangle shaped thing. It's like essentially cognizance. Like you put a square shaped toy in the square. She puts everything into the square because it fits.
Okay.
Right? And I think that's the question that you ask yourself. Like, is that really wrong?
Can I be very honest with you?
Yeah.
I just feel I just think it is easier for manufacturers to cut squares
That's the right
than to
answer.
cut circles.
It is. It saves on money.
Oh my jaw.
Oh yeah, so, this is what I was reading.
If I have to cut a circle, I mean, I'll be like, fuck that shit, dude. I just want to cut a square. Put anything in it, dude.
It doesn't matter with half a pizza, one pizza sandwich. Doesn't
On
really
the lines
matter.
of that, like, we went to this event a couple of days ago and we got a pizza box. I'm like, shit, dude, we've got like a full-fledged pizza with this event. You open the box, there's fucking one slice inside.
I think the question to ask is, why is the fucking pizza not square?
Yeah, that's also interesting to ask.
That's also a lot harder to make.
Yeah, I think your perspective on
Just
that is
rolling
probably-
it out.
I thought you like it hard.
You're the bottom. You should be answering that
We are
question.
gonna have so much editing.
Yeah, but on that note, I think let's end this. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
We can
Thank you so
probably.
much. Thank you so much.
Yep.
This was fun. This
Yeah.
was fun.
Let's just wave
Yeah,
into
we
one
can
of.
wave into one
one
in
of
the,
those-
the cameras.
Hey, hi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bear with us.
Okay.
Bear with us. Yeah, we've just given them a shit ton of editing to do.
Cut.
This was fun.
My ass hurts now.
Yeah, it hurts. My back also hurts.
Please tell me.
Hey, it didn't break.